Welcome back to the Choose Your Own podcast. I'm Jeremy.
And my name is Tejj.
And we are going to take you guys on a funky, crazy, fantastical journey today as we search for the magic of the unicorn.
The mystical unicorn.
Oh yes. We've talked about unicorns before in The Abominable Snowman, because if you guys have checked those episodes out, you should check them out if you haven't.
Guys, I spent a whole hour and something last week trying to find this goddamn unicorn.
And we didn't.
So we figured, why not get the book where we could actually find the unicorn, and it's an actual viable possibility.
Yeah.
So that's what that's what we got planned for you this week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is the magic of the unicorn. It's very exciting. And it's by Deborah Lerm Goodman, who is a new author. She is not R.A. Montgomery, obviously, because then her name would be R.A. Montgomery. And I did a little research on her if you guys are interested. I was just curious because I was like, oh, a different author. Because this book is, I don't know exactly when it's from, but it's called From the Lost Archives, according to the back, which I looked it up on the website, and the description for the Lost Archives was mysterious titles finally located. So I'd like to learn more about that someday, perhaps. That sounds interesting. But yeah, Deborah Lerm Goodman wrote several of these books. Two other books she wrote were Vanished and Throne of Zeus, which sound cool. I love Greek mythology. I don't know about you, Tejj, but that was one of my favorites as a boy.
Funny story, if we can go on a quick tangent, I love Greek mythology, and I was pretty familiar with Greek mythology. In my senior year of college, I decided to take a Greek and Roman mythology class, thinking, you know what, I already have a fair understanding of Greek mythology. This class is going to be an elective. It's going to be pretty easy. Yep. And I'm not even kidding when I tell you it's probably one of the hardest classes I've ever had to take in terms of the amount of reading and the amount of like detail you need to know. And then you explore not only just the mythology, but like sometimes you explore like the theology of it too. And it's wild, man. It was tough to keep everything straight. One thing I did learn is that Zeus was a mighty pervert.
Yeah, I've heard that before. He had a lot of female suitors.
Not only that, man, he was porking his like wife and then his stepdaughters and then their sisters, and then he was killing his own sons if they were, I don't know, man. It was wild. If you're interested in Greek mythology, it's like the most Game of Thronesy thing that
it is. And it's like, if you're interested in Roman mythology, you're interested in Greek mythology, so that's cool. And what else do I know about Deborah? Let's see. She wrote 2 children's books for the Smithsonian, which is super cool. And she writes magazine articles about textiles, or at least she has before. And she lived in China, and she has a husband named John. So there are my fun facts about her. I hope her and John are happy. I hope her worldly experiences will shine a light on it. Well, I hope we'll be able to see what if it is reflected in her writing. That would be cool.
Shout out worldly experiences. And speaking of worldly experiences, Blitz and I were talking off camera, and Blitz unfortunately had to attend a funeral today, but
yes, sir.
The lives of the 2 people that were involved, or rather the one person involved, are quite mystical. And our podcast is all about journeys and adventures, and this man's life is one of the most crazy adventures I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. So with that said, I'll leave it to the floor of my podcast co-host here.
Thank you, Tejj. That was a great introduction, first of all. It's true. This is a pretty cool story. So my great-uncle, Saul Welger, he was a wheelchaired basketball player. He played for like a New York team in Brooklyn, and he played in the Olympics. And my Aunt Krista, my great-aunt Krista, who was his wife, she was also an Olympian, but she was an Olympian for Germany. And they met during the Olympics, Germany and America, fresh off of World War II in the 50s.
9.
And they fell in love.
Yeah.
Yep. It was so it was like it was a cool thing, and it never really got much attention back in the day, but it's always been a cool story in my family, and I've always looked up to my Uncle Saul. He died when I was young, but we had like a nice connection. And he actually, today I received from one of his sons, because he knew we were close. He gave me, first of all, a thing I wrote about Uncle Saul, which maybe we'll post it on the Instagram because it's awesome, of something I wrote about him when I was in the 2nd grade, literally. Like, I haven't seen this thing in like almost 20 years.
Can you expand on that a little bit more for our viewers? Maybe give them a little background on exactly what that is.
It's the story
on the what you wrote in.
Okay, yeah. So basically, it's a story called My Great Uncle, And it goes into his history of like starting to play sports and stuff, and me finding out that he played basketball. And, you know, when I met him, he was in a wheelchair and stuff. And my dad, you know, the way he talked about him, it's like he taught my dad how to play every sport my dad knew how to play. And my dad's a great athlete. My dad also played minor league baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the back in the day, taught to him by my uncle, his baseball skills. So that's cool. But, yeah, he just like he was very good at what he did. He was very good at wheelchair basketball. I write about that a lot, about how he like played for a long time. He met my aunt and everything. And also he impacted others' lives too. I have a lot at the end. Second grade me was very insightful. I have a lot at the end about how he impacted other people's lives. There was a basketball player who ended up in the hospital, and he was very depressed. And my uncle came to visit him and showed him that there was still stuff living for, and his life's not ruined even if he's in a wheelchair. It's really nice. I'm actually kind of shocked how good of a writer I was when I was in the second grade, because I am not that good of a writer now. Damn you growing up. But yeah, it's just a nice story. I'll post some of the pictures on Instagram. You guys could check it out. I haven't read it in years. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. And yeah, so his son at the funeral, you know, he knew how close we were, and he gave me a jacket, like a game-worn jacket that my uncle would wear, which I really appreciated, and he gave me that story. And yeah, they're just incredible people. It's a beautiful love story. They loved each other. Very wonderful people. Shout out Uncle Saul. Shout out Aunt Krista. Hope you're living it up in heaven, playing all the sports you want. And there you go.
That's a pretty incredible story, I do have to say.
Why, thank you, Tejj.
And they were together for how many years, do you know, approximately?
Let's see. 60, 70, 80, 92. I mean, over 50 years. Over 50 years,
love,
definitely.
Folks.
Yeah, it was beautiful. My Aunt Krista came to America. My dad was telling me today she barely even spoke English. So it's amazing. Like my great uncle, a tough guy from Brooklyn, really. He was like a tough, always spoke his, you know, always said what he thought, always said what was on his mind, was a tough guy, wouldn't take no shit. He met this German woman. They fell in love. She barely even spoke English. Amazing. Love brings you together, man, regardless of crazy wars and stuff between your countries.
It's a beautiful story. I'm tearing up a little bit. I'm actually a little bit of lost for words.
I see that. I see your tear. Tejj is really tearing a little bit.
That being said, shout out to Uncle Saul. Shout out to Auntie
Aunt Krista.
Aunt Krista. I'm sorry, I'm Indian. We call our aunts aunties. But
fun fact, my puppet is also named after Saul. There you go. I'll leave you guys on that.
Oh, yeah, you should check out Blitz's puppet channel. Why don't you go ahead and plug that one over there, Blitz?
Yeah, it's called It's a Saul World after all. Just a fun thing I did with my friend. If you guys like stupid improv puppetry stuff, check it out. Why not?
It's pretty funny, I do have to say. I'm not someone who just randomly laughs at anything. And
it's random nonsense.
Blitz with a puppet is pretty fucking hysterical, I do have to say.
Yeah, so if you guys like some stupid puppet stuff, check it out. I'd appreciate it. I haven't worked on it in a while, but it's cool. It's a cool little thing if you like puppets. And yeah, let's get to this book. Let's discover something about the magic of the unicorn. Let's see what we uncouth. And if we don't find a unicorn this time, I'm going to be extremely disappointed because I have no idea how that would be possible. There's literally a unicorn right on the cover.
We were talking about this off camera as well, which is this is one of the darkest covers that I've seen for this. It's like
it fits the fantasy theme.
It's pretty morbid, folks. Like when I first saw it, I was like, are we trying to scare the bejesus out of these 10-year-olds? But you know, and the unicorn is, you know, getting burned a little bit. A little flame
there's some sort of reptilian creature at the bottom.
Demogorgish creature.
Yeah, partially off screen, breathing fire at the unicorn. The unicorn looks like it doesn't give a fuck, let me just say. And not only is that what's going on, it looks like it's jumping over a tree, like over like a, you know, a big branch or something, a big stem in this tree, like a root. And this tree has a very angry face that is yelling. And it does not look happy. There's a nice looking woman riding the unicorn. I guess that's going to be us. I guess we're going to be a woman today. And yeah, I just love the unicorn's true, like the face is just.
Oh, this is our first female represented character, huh?
Yes.
Shout out female representation.
Shout out female representation. Will be a lady today. And yeah, love this unicorn. Love how, just look at him, Tejj.
I am a strong, independent woman, Blitz, and you can't tell me otherwise.
I would never tell you otherwise. You be whatever you want to be, my friend. And let's dig right into this delicious morsel of a story.
And like always, our journey begins on page 1. Except Blitz has decided that he loves these fucking quotes.
Yeah, I wanted to just, we don't have to read them all. Tejj is very against it, but there are new kids quotes in this book. I want to read just the first one. It's very short. We don't have to read them all. It's totally new kids, so they got new kids for this one. I guess the Lost Archives is pulling out the big guns. And here, I'll read this one quote just because I think it's funny from a 9-year-old, Alexander Rivera, who says, "I like Choose Your Own Adventure because it feels like you're actually in the real book." Which I think I know what he's going for there. It's a weird way to say it, but the books are very immersive, Alexander. So you're right there.
You bullying this young man right now, Blitz?
No, I think he's very insightful. He just, he was a 9-year-old, so says things in a silly way. Magic of the Unicorn, boom. We got a picture right in the cover of this unicorn. Very pretty looking. Look at it. It looks like a My Little Pony art instead of like the art on the cover is more realistic. This is more like My Little Pony.
I mean, this is a fucking sissy-looking unicorn, I do have to say. I mean, as far as unicorns go, I mean, I'm not expecting something brolic-looking, but that is like the Bambi of unicorns.
I mean, he looks pretty brolic on the cover. He, she, whatever.
They.
Yeah, let's begin. Oh, look. The thank you, the shout-out in this book from Deborah is to John, with thanks for your magic, which I'm pretty sure, I mean, it said her husband is John, so, she's thanking her husband. That's nice for her magic. I hope their love is magical. And Tejj, what do you think? Should we give everyone who's never heard us before an intro into what we do here? The books always do the work for us.
I think it's only fair with our 4th episode now, right? This is fun. We got this going for about 4 weeks straight. We got some extra content in the back that we're not telling you guys about.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
we'll release that, whenever we're feeling a little peachy.
We got other stuff in the works too. Yeah, we got some cool stuff going on. Things you guys wouldn't expect Choose Your Own Adventure would have led us to.
We'll start off with the preface, which is beware and warning. This book is different from other books. You and you alone are in charge of what happens in this story. There are dangers, choices, adventures, and consequences. You must use all of your numerous talents and much of your enormous intelligence. The wrong decision could end in disaster, even death. But don't despair. At any time, you can go back and make another choice, alter the path of your story, and change its result.
Lupa, baby.
So, it says that you can do that, but we're gonna be men and women of our word. And if we choose a path and decide to go down it, we're going down it until we can't no mo. We're not gonna necessarily go down a path and then be like, oh, I don't like this that much. I wanna retreat. We're
committed to our decisions.
We are committed to our decisions, exactly.
And we're trying to find the magic of the unicorn. At least that's how I feel. It's the name of the book. I'm very curious. I like that there's a theme in all these books of unicorns. And I really want to find one since we haven't found one in A-Bomb yet. It's what I call our Abominable Snowman episodes, A-Bomb.
That's actually pretty nice. It's the first time you ran it by me. That was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, it just came to me in the moment.
Oh, moving on. It says the only water supply for your small forest village has become polluted beyond repair. Your wise friend, Marie Claire, we're just going to call her MC,
MC
Marie. MC Marie. MC Marie sends you off with a magical talisman in hopes that you'll be able to save your village from the demise. So you're telling me MC Marie sent me on my way with like a big old bling?
I'm very excited.
With a big old hanging chain around my neck in order to save my village from demise? Can you slow the town riddle and find this... What? Can you solve... Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what it said.
I can't read. What? It says, can you solve the town riddle and find the sorceress? Even if you find her, will she be able to purify the well? Does a unicorn reside in the forest? Its horn is said to fix even the worst of ailments, but is it too late to save it? A fire-breathing dragon, angry warlock, and devilish duchess all stand in your path. You must muster all of your bravery, quick thinking, and creativity to weave a magical route for safety for your village and for yourself. So I guess that explains the flaming dragon thing that's in our way in the cover.
I am super excited now. I think I mentioned this in our first episode. I play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy, big fantasy guy. I'm very excited for this. That was a very exciting intro for me. We gotta use some magical talisman and not get killed by dragons and evil duchesses. Sounds very exciting. And I feel like our stories are usually like it seems like there's mystery within the unicorn, but I like that this story is more of a direct adventure. We just have a quest right now that we have to accomplish. We got to save our peeps. Very direct. Like we got to go on this quest now. Time constraint. Got to save our peeps. Maybe we'll find a unicorn.
So I'm going to start off reading, and I'm going to go with page 1. It says, "The summer of 1507 is exceptionally dry throughout Flanders. Fires scorch the forest, crops wither, and animals collapse from thirst. Nowhere is the drought as severe as in your own small village. Just last week, when you went to check the dwindling water supply, you discovered a dead rat floating in the well upon which everyone depended. Since the water has been foul and tainted, the barrels of rainwater are nearly empty, and all attempts to dig a new well have yielded nothing but dry earth. One morning, after weeding the field you inherited when your parents died 10 years ago, you pay a visit to MC Marie. She's the oldest person in the village. Oh, so she's an OG, and she's one of your special
Marie,
friends.
The real OG. She's a special friend for you and for me. I like her already. There you go. MC, there's your freestyle. Here we go. Page 2. Some people say this might be the last summer any of us lives to see, you tell her sadly. None of the other villages around has enough water to share with us. And it's hopeless to keep trying to dig a new well. I wish there was something I could do about it. MC Marie Clary looks up from her knitting. You could try to lure a unicorn to the well. Why, the touch of its horn purifies even poison. But Marie Clary, you exclaim. Around here, unicorns are rarer than water. I bet it would be easier to find the sorceress than a unicorn. Psh, yeah, sorceress. That's a good idea, she replies. I'm sure the sorceress knows all about unicorns. Why don't you look for her? But no one has ever seen her. No one has seen her in years, you remind Marie Clary. The last person who tried to find her never returned. Ah, but you are 10 times smarter than anyone who has ever searched for the sorceress. If anyone can find her, it is you. Although you feel flattered, you are not sure you are really that clever, or you are really clever enough. Well, I'll give it a try. I wonder if I still remember that riddle describing the way to find the sorceress. Is that right? You take a deep breath and recite. Near a land reserved for woe, in a place that's high but low, watch which way the bat doth go, find me there, and I will know.
Can you run that back to me one more time?
Yeah, let's read that one again. It seems pretty important. Near a land reserved for woe, in a place that's high but low, watch which way the bat doth go, find me there, and I will know.
In a place that's high but low. Sounds like you're smoking weed in a submarine.
I did not see that one coming. It sounds to me like we're in for a high time. There's a picture here of DJ MC Marie Clary, the realest OG. She's a sweet-looking old woman. It looks like she has a little dog next to her. Who's a little cutie. Yeah, and let's keep going. Let's find out where this riddle will take us.
Perfect, says Marie Clary, as she hands you a glass pendant shaped like a raindrop. Here comes the bling. Put on my good luck talisman. Use it as you need it, my friend. You say goodbye to Marie Clary, then roam the parched fields. After pondering the riddle, you think of 2 places reserved for woe. The sorceress could mean the village graveyard or the small camp outside the village where 2 men who suffer from leprosy live in gloomy isolation. If you decide to go to the leper camp, turn to page 8. If you head for the graveyard, turn to page 12.
That's a really funny decision. Because
that sentence was a little weird, but
do you want to be around dead bodies,
or
or do you want to be around lepers who are dying?
The sentence was a little weird, but I think we're trying to find the sorceress, and I think we have 2 options. We can either go to the leper camp to look for this hoe,
I agree.
or we can go to the graveyard. I think in terms
of dangerous.
Not only that, but in terms of sorcery, I think if she's like a wicked sorceress, just all my knowledge of wicked sorcery, she's probably also down to like dig graves and like take stuff from the graves, you know what I mean?
Maybe she's doing some necromancy, as we call it in the fantasy business.
Some good old necrophilia, necromancy.
No. 2 different things, ladies and gentlemen. There's having sex with dead bodies, and there's resurrecting them into your dark army. But I guess you could do both. If you have the power of necromancy, you could easily satiate those desires.
All right, I'm going to turn this boat. I'm going to turn this boat real quick before we, hit this metaphorical.
We've got a nice picture of our pendant here, our luck pendant.
So it says, if you decide to go to the leper camp, turn to page 8. If you head for the graveyard, turn to page 12. I say we go to the graveyard. Spent a lot of time drinking illegally in graveyards.
I agree. I just also feel like, just from basic logic, I mean, our character's apparently 10 times smarter than anyone who's ever looked for the sorceress before. So that's good. What do you want to name our character, Tejj? Let's give her a nice name.
I think they gave us a name.
Oh, we have a name? I did not hear that. That's weird. Usually these books are in second person.
Oh, they didn't. You're right. There's no
Okay,
name
yeah,
for
I
us.
was going to say. So what, let's give ourselves a fantasy name, maybe like an elvish type, some like a very, very fantastical name.
Corinthia.
You want to hear something funny? So there was a guy who was a high elf in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign. His first name was Cruendithus, and he generated his elf name, and the last name it gave him was Dragon Soul Touched. So his name was Cruendithus Dragon Soul Touched.
Incredible.
And what did you say this girl's name was? What do you want to name her?
Corinthia.
I like Corinthia. Let's give her a name like Corinthia. I don't know. I can't think of a good title. Let's go with Dragon Soul Touched. I like it. I don't know what it means, but it's cool. Corinthia Dragon Soul Touched. Sounds like an anime character arc name. And here we go to the graveyard. No leprosy for us. Even though the path to the graveyard is all downhill, you are hot and thirsty by the time you arrive there. You sit in the shade of a drooping tree to cool off. As you watch parched leaves float to the dusty ground, you consider the next line of the riddle. In a place that's high but low. What can be both high and low? Looking around, you notice the rolling slopes of the hills along the far side of the graveyard. They seem to be both high and low. But then the church bell rings, striking noon. Turning, you realize the steeple of the church also fits the riddle. The church itself is in a low valley, but the steeple towers high above the village. Now we have another choice, which is, if you walk over to the hills, turn to page 5. If you enter the church, turn to page 16. I like how this book's just giving us very, there's no moral dilemma. There's not really even much logic to it. It's like, both things work in our character's mind. We just have to decide where we want to go.
I guess we're looking for this creepy sorceress lady. Is she more likely to be found in a church or in a field, do you think? Because, I mean, a field sounds possible, too, like for her to conduct her wicked, crazy experiments.
Like if she's past the hills somewhere, maybe she has like a magical play, like fortress.
But what if she's like
there.
a Satan worshiper and the church is not really a church, and
that's
she's
what I was
actually
gonna say too, yeah.
and she's actually just using the church as a cover to conduct her secret, fucking crazy demon experiments.
I like the idea that like she like it's a front. The church is a front. So like maybe she's not an evil sorceress, maybe she is, but either way, it's a front. It's like, where don't you expect to find the sorceress? At church.
You know what, man? They always be the one the closest to you.
I mean, what year did they say this was staged? 1509?
1509, that's right. Before the Renaissance, I believe, right? I believe the Renaissance was actually, no, I think that's the 15th century. So
Yeah, I think
1400.
You're right, yeah. So they definitely would be cracking down on witches if this is, like a Catholic church. So, but it's good to hide in plain sight, Maybe you're saying your spells are miracles, or maybe you're just acting like an everyday religious person who no one would ever expect. A devout Christian, perhaps.
Mayhaps.
Who knows what religion they're talking about? It's a church, so that's what I would just guess. And they did give us 1509 as a time period, so I guess they're saying this happened in the past, but it's more fantastical. So what do you want to do? You want to go over the hills, or I think we like the church. You want to try the church?
I think the church is a fair shot.
Let's
Probably
do it. Let's
catch her sacrificing a goat. Or
yeah,
like
let's
a
go
baby
where
or
let's go
something.
where she don't expect us to find her. Hills are so obvious. Like, come on. All right, page 16.
When you go inside the church, Brother Michael looks up from the candlebrum that he's polishing. I was just wishing for some company. What are you up to, my friend? Oh, that's just like, I mean, not to talk any crap on people who are religious, because I think everyone who believes in anything, you have the right to do so.
I personally believe in everything.
I just think it's so funny how people are like, they're like, oh, I pray that this will happen, like for something very simple, and then like that simple ass thing happens, and
they're
like,
so
oh my
thankful.
God, God is listening.
I think that's funny too, but you know me, Tejj. At the same time, I believe in everything.
I think that's. I
believe in the power
find
of
that
faith.
I find that like humorous, not in like a derogatory way, but just in like a coincidental kind of way. It's just like, oh, you got your way, so it's like confirmation bias almost.
It's a nice way to look at life, If you just think every little thing is a gift from God.
So our girl Corinthia here, she says, I'm looking for the sorceress. I ain't here to be your friend. No, she doesn't say that. She says, I'm looking for the sorceress. You explain your interpretation for the riddle. Brother Michael strokes his chin. I don't believe anyone has ever considered the graveyard or steeple when figuring out that riddle, so you may be on the right track.
I think so, Michael.
Oh, shit.
We ain't looking for you, Mike. We looking for the sorceress, but thank you.
Oh, shit. That's actually pretty good. We're on the right track
I guess
here.
he's in like the top 10 smartest people in the village with us.
So it says, the next line of the riddle says to watch which way the bat goes. You tell him, have you ever seen bats before? Plenty, he exclaims. At night, they fly around the steeple. I've heard them down in the cellar, too, although I never actually go there. I didn't know there was a cellar under the church. Oh, there's a crawl space there, but it's too small to be very useful, says Brother Michael. Not only that, it's so infested with spiders that no one dares set foot in it.
No one?
It would be a clever place for the sorceress to hide. If I had the courage, I'd look there. You are tempted to investigate the cellar, even though you don't like the idea of running into a web full of spiders. You also remind yourself that the riddle mentions a place that's high but low, and the cellar doesn't fit that description as well as the steeple does. If you choose to explore the steeple, turn to page 10. If you think to enter the cellar is a better choice, turn to page 19. See, this is the whole better choice thing. It's trying to mess with my mind, bro.
It is. It's like
I think
it's not making it easy for us today.
in the previous episode, spoiler alert, we found an alien. And the reason we were able to find the alien is because, what did we do, Blitz? Why don't you refresh our viewers' memory?
We decided to follow the long-held tradition of passivity.
Not only that, we actively chose exactly the opposite of what we wanted to do.
Exactly. Which ended up being mostly like hilarious decisions of like, no, we're just going to stay here. Oh, look for the abominable snowman. We're just going to chill out here for longer. We're going to go look at that other thing instead of the abominable snowman. So, yeah, and that led us to finding aliens who then sent us our consciousnesses to the realm of thought, where all thoughts go, which is a location in the known universe.
And it looked like a little pumpkin house thing.
Yeah.
But that being said, do you want to employ that strategy? Or should we go to the steeple? Because I think the steeple is... Here's my thing with the steeple. It's almost too obvious, right?
I agree. I think everyone else couldn't find her. We're the smart one. We should be thinking differently. It's like, listen, the bats are at the steeple. That don't mean she's exactly at the steeple. Maybe she's down below. To me, the riddle does make sense. I don't know. I think it kind of does make sense that she's in the cellar from the riddle.
Don't bats like to hide in like dark, cold crevices?
Well, it said to see where the bats go, see where the bats go, and he's saying the bats are high up at the steeple, but he said he's seen them low by the cellar. Did he say something like that?
Yeah, he said I've heard them down in the cellar too.
And it said to see where they doth go. So I think the steeple's the obvious choice, but it's like a red herring.
And he said, if I had the courage, I'd look there. I ain't a little bitch, bro.
We are courageous.
Did
somebody say spiders? It is I, Miss Dragon Soul Touched.
I think the cellar it is, huh?
Let's do it. Let's go to the cellar. Maybe we'll sneak some wine skis. All right, here's a little picture of us going to the cellar. Father Michael looks like a nice guy. He's helping us out. We're a girl. We're a girl today. 100%. Every image. That's cool. I like how they're just, boy, girl, whatever. I'd like to explore the cellar, you tell Brother Michael. He smiles at you and says, let me get you a lantern, then I'll show you the way. He leads you to a far corner of the church, where he opens a heavy trapdoor. There are no stairs, he explains. Since the space is only about 3 feet high, you'll have to jump down and then crawl. Wish me luck, you say, as you lower yourself through the hole. When your feet reach the ground, Brother Michael hands you the lantern. You get down on your hands and knees, take a deep breath to calm yourself, and adjust the lantern. Only then do you see the spiders. Thousands, maybe millions of them are clustered on dense veils of cobwebs that fill the entire space except for a narrow passageway. Turn to page 15. Oh boy. That's a lot of spiders.
You shudder with fear, but force yourself to crawl through the tunnel. The lantern casts eerie shadows on the webs. Spiders scurry under your shins. Strangely enough, you think you hear a faint sound of gurgling water. Just then, a bat swoops towards you. You flatten yourself to the ground and quickly cover your head with your hands. The bat soars over you, then flies straight through the wall of webs, creating a new tunnel. You shine the light of the lantern into the bat's passageway, but all you can see is blackness. You'd like to follow the bat to see if it leads you to the sorceress, but you want to find out what's making that gurgling noise. Do we get distracted?
I don't know. What would be making a gurgling noise? Perhaps a person trapped in a spider's web.
It could be the tectonic plates that she's mistaking for a gurgling noise.
That'd be really funny if we explored and it was just tectonic plates. You wasted your time.
She's also under a church, so it could just be like primitive plumbing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That's a good point.
So I made the last decision to come down into this basement. So how about I'm gonna let Blitz choose?
All right, let's see. So yeah, you guys heard it. We could, if you decide to. Oh wait, no, that's not right. Here we are. There were decisions on the other page too. Good thing I didn't read them. Spoilers. If you continue down the tunnel you are in now, turn to page 39, and if you decide to chase the bat, turn to page 80. Well, I feel like we're a little pressed for time. So we should probably focus on finding this.
We're not pressed for time. They didn't really give us a. They just, I mean,
everyone's dying though.
Yeah,
right?
but like, I mean, in terms of that.
I mean, I guess she said we wouldn't make it through like the year, so.
So exactly.
It's not like we have to get there right away. You know what? Let's check out this other thing. What's the worst case scenario? We die? You know, I'm curious. I think I like. Let's do the not obvious choice here. I think we were smart picking the cellar. Let's what do you think, Tejj? Let's diverge a little. Let's not chase the bat yet.
Let's get spicy.
Let's continue down the tunnel. I want to know what's down here. It sounds like there's something down here. So let's go to page 39. So even if it's not what we're looking for, maybe we'll find something cool. Oh, and we didn't. Let me read you what happened, everybody. It's pretty funny. The sound of water becomes more distinct as you creep steadily through the passageway. You are so intent on following the sound that you barely notice the spiders or the dusty webs anymore. At last, the light of your lantern flashes brightly on a rushing underground stream. The water smells fresh, so you taste it. You shriek with delight, for the water is sweet and very cold. Your discovery of the stream saves your village. You and your friends manage to divert the flow so it runs directly under the trapdoor in the church. Although it makes a peculiar well, everyone is too happy to care. The end.
So you're telling me
I made the two right choice. I made too good of a choice.
We literally made
you don't even gotta find the
right choices.
It's like all this magic and fantasy they're building up. Or I love these books. All this crazy frickin' shit can go down. Or you could just end up.
I can't believe we just got vexed by making the right choices. We got vexed by making the appropriate, legitimate choices to find water.
We were like, oh, gargling. What could that? I didn't even think it was just going to be water, and it was fresh water, and now everyone's fine. Who needs frickin' magic, man? I mean, we have that lucky pendant, but I mean,
what like an anticlimactic way to reach the proper ending?
I say, let's go back, Tejj. Let's go back. Let's go to page. What was it? Let's chase the bat. You want to go back and chase the bat?
Let's chase the bat, yeah.
It's a funny ending. And let me just say the picture on page 39 is also funny because it's a very mildly happy ending, too. It's just mildly happy villagers.
Or,
yeah, you
or
got
Blitz,
us
tell me what you think about this. We could go all the way back, and instead of going to the cemetery, let's go to the lepers instead.
Oh, okay. You want
because we know the arc of the cemetery leads us to the church, which leads us to the bats. So let's get rid of all of that and let's go all the way back and go into. So
let's go to page 8. That's where the leper camp is. I went back to page 4. It says page 8 is where we want to be.
Let's do that.
Boom. Here you go.
You turn down the path to the shabby hut where the 2 leprosy victims live. You know the villagers stay far from the men for fear of catching the dreaded skin disease, and they will be very upset if they even learn that you ever visited this place. When you first glimpse the 2 swollen faces peering out of the doorway, you panic, then force yourself to continue downward to them. "Welcome, friend. Please come inside," says one of the men warmly. "Thanks, but I'll stay outside," you reply.
Yeah, we don't want leprosy.
"I'm looking for the sorceress. The riddle says she lives near a place of woe, and I thought that might mean your home." Yo,
violated.
That's violated.
Oh my god, we just violated. Yo,
since no one will have anything to do with us, this is indeed a woeful place, says the second man. He's like, yeah, you right. These two lepers. First of all, it's hilarious that Deborah is teaching kids about leprosy, because that shit is scary. Leprosy is you are dying, man. You look gross, and then she did a good job in the illustration. They look like frickin' rock people. They're not looking too happy, and they're not looking too well. It's like those Game of Thrones monsters that attack Jorah.
Yeah, with the rock disease. Exactly.
Lost my place. Give me 1 second here.
R.I.P. Jorah.
Oh, he says, since no one will have anything to do with us, this is indeed a woeful place, says the second man. But I don't think it's one of your it's the one your riddle describes. We've never seen the sorceress. I think she Must be afraid of catching our disease.
That's fair. We're not as afraid as we should be, probably.
Is leprosy that bad, you ask? No, says the first man. But the way people treat us is horrible. In fact, you'd better hurry back. If anyone sees you here, they won't let you return home.
Well, I guess I'm one of those people. Sorry, lepers.
It says to turn to page 17.
I thought being in a leper's house is probably pretty bad, so. 17. You say goodbye to the men and head toward home. As you reach the road to the village, you meet several of your neighbors. Their faces whiten. Their eyes dart back and forth between you and the men with leprosy, who are still standing by their doorway. Stay back, one man shouts. Keep away. It's all right, you insist. I was just there for a minute. You can't return to the village. Go back to the lepers, shrieks another neighbor, eyeing you fearfully. As you start to follow them, the villagers gather stones. Leper! Leper! They scream, throwing rocks at you.
We made the wrong choice.
It was a different time. It was a different time. You used to try to help. You help people with leprosy now, but back in the day,
this was much before Mother Teresa.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Gary, actually, who's not here with us today, but he has a story. He has some pretty crazy leprosy stories. Anyway, page 7, here we go.
Filled with horror, you race away from the villagers. You slowly realize you can't go home, but cling to the hope that their panic will subside in a few days, especially if you find a way to purify the well. Since you can't continue your search for the sorceress by investigating the graveyard, you decide to concentrate on finding a unicorn. You turn away from your village and walk the long road toward the forest, hoping to find a unicorn there. But before long, you hear a cart approaching behind you. The driver is Simon, a traveling peddler you've always liked. You wave to him and ask, "Where are you going?" Simon pulls the cart to a halt beside you. "Everyone around here is too upset about the drought to take much interest in my trinkets. I'm going to try my luck in the city of Arras. At least people will be trading there. Want to join me? I wouldn't mind some company for such a long trip." Arras. You've never been to that city before. Although you'd love to go, you suspect unicorns are more likely to live in the forest. But maybe you could meet someone in Arras who could tell you how to find a unicorn. If you decide to search for a unicorn in the forest, turn to page 13. If you climb into the cart, headed for Arras, turn to page 14.
I like how this dude Simon was like, "Everyone's dying over here. No one gives a shit about my trinkets."
He knows his target market, guy. He knows what the people are looking for.
He does. He want fresh water, not trinkets.
So what do you think? Do you think we go to this other city of Arras, or do we?
I so badly want to find the unicorn that I kind of almost just want to follow anything that even says unicorn in it.
That's fair.
What do you think, Tejj? I don't know, right? Like, yeah, maybe we will find someone with Arras, or maybe we'll just fucking run in the woods and maybe we'll find a unicorn.
What if the unicorn finds us, man, on our journey to Arras?
What if the unicorn is the governor of Arras?
Mind blown. I think we stay in search for the unicorn. I'm getting weird vibes from this guy. Like, why do you want the company of a 13-year-old girl?
Yeah, we're 13. He's like definitely a fully grown adult. He's an adult male.
Don't want any R. Kelly situations going on.
We've never been to Arras, at least where we live around this forest. And unicorns. Let's find the unicorn.
I say we go to page 13.
Says unicorn. I'm in. Abominable Snowman has been a severe disappointment for us, but we'll find it. We'll find it eventually. All right, let's see what we got. "Thanks, but I can't go with you now. How about another time?" you tell Simon. You wave goodbye as he continues down the road. I guess he's a little flustered. He doesn't say goodbye to us. When he disappears from view, you leave the road and make your way into the shadowy forest. The air is parched and still. Even the birds are quiet. As you travel deeper into the forest, the only sounds you hear is the crunching of your footsteps on dry leaves. After several hours of walking, you notice a few long strands of silver tangled in a bush. You hold your discovery up to the light, trying to decide whether it is fine thread or hair. You've never seen anything like it. As you look around for other strands of silver, you spot several small hoof prints. They are too little to belong to a horse and aren't the right shape for a deer. Your heart stops for a second when you realize the hoof prints and the silver strands may be traces of a unicorn. You search for more evidence and are surprised to see that the hoof prints lead in one direction and the silver hairs in another. You pause trying to decide which way to go. If you follow the hoof prints, turn to page 30. If you head in the direction of the silver strands, turn to page 52.
Silver strands all day.
You think so? I was thinking maybe the footprints just because...
It's too easy. The footprints be too easy, man.
What if something like attacked the unicorn and it got its hair on it? But you're right. It's too easy. Hoof prints, too easy. What if it's a frickin' troll? Who knows what their feet look like, right?
Or it could just be another regular horse roaming around.
Well, it says they're too little to belong to a horse. But what if it's just a little horse, right? That'd be pretty funny. But you know what, Tejj? I'm down. Let's go with the strands. I feel like that's weirder. That's weirder, and maybe the unicorn's shed, and maybe it's a trick because you know the unicorn's hard to find if you can just find its hooves. And we just walked into the forest, you know. So yeah, let's go for the strands. That's weirder, and that's page 52.
As you search through the forest for silver strands, you hear a rustling of leaves. Stepping quietly, you follow the sound until you spy a flash of silver through the trees. It's not a unicorn after all, but a young woman wearing a fraying shawl woven of silver thread. As you run up to her, you wonder if she might be a sorceress. No ordinary person would own such a shawl. "Hello," you call. She turns around. You see her face is filled with terror. Her velvet gown is torn and dusty. "I thought you were the kidnappers," she explains breathlessly.
Oh boy.
"What kidnappers?" you ask. "Those villains who kidnapped me. I managed to escape during the night, but I'm sure they've been looking for me." She glances around nervously. "Can you hide me?" "Sure," you reply. "I'll bring you home to my village." She smiles at you gratefully. "I'm so lucky you found me. What are you doing in the middle of the forest anyway? You look a bit young to be a hunter or like a woodcutter." Turn to page 59. This is interesting.
Did we just find the sorceress?
I don't know. We might have found our demise.
59. Page 59? Oh boy. You sigh wearily. "I'm looking for a unicorn, you see. The well in my village is tainted, and our supply of rainwater is almost gone." "I can help you," says the woman happily. "You can?" She looks at you strangely. "Don't you know who I am?" You shake your head. "I'm the king's daughter," she replies. "And just as soon as I get home, I'll give you my unicorn horn as a reward for saving me." God damn it. We found a unicorn horn. We want stop giving us this book is hilarious because you can just get good endings and be pissed off about it. This is way better than who knows what the hell we have to do to find a unicorn. Good for our character. She is pretty smart.
I love how there's two solutions to the water problem that don't involve a unicorn, the sorceress, the prophecy, a troll, a dragon, none of those things.
Every ending we found right now has been from walking. First of all, like this ending's hilarious because we just get rocks thrown at us out of our village for going to talk to some lepers. We meet some merchant who's leaving because everyone's sick. We walk into the woods for 5 minutes, meet a woman. She goes, "No, I was captured. Okay, the bandits, they're not here. Whatever. You take them back to your village? Perfect. Here's a unicorn's horn." Like, what the hell is going on? Why do they have a unicorn horn? That sounds pretty fucked up.
I think it might just be like a rare thing.
Like they found it on a dead one. They didn't kill it.
I think it might be like a prized possession type thing, like furs and stuff. Like if you're royal, that might be like a show of power. You know
I agree, but when you have furs, it's because you killed something. So when you have a unicorn horn,
now you're slaying these unicorns, man.
Can you imagine we found some deep conspiracy in here of like?
So I say we go back.
Slay the unicorns for their magic.
Tell me what you think, but I say we go back to the the thing with the strands and the hooves, and then we go for the hooves.
Okay, let's go for the. It's funny. I actually agree with that, but I still want to say this. I was going to say, let's just get the fuck out of here. These people are psychopaths. They hate us for the leprosy. Let's just go to. Let's go with Simon, even though he's a little creepy and he didn't say goodbye to us. All right, what do you want to go back to the hooves?
Yeah, go back to the hooves.
Okay, what page was that?
That's a good question.
Here, I'll find it. Oh, okay, yeah, and then we turn to page 7. Here we go. We're on the trail. Sometimes you gotta find your trail. We're not heading to harass. We're heading to page 13, and then we're heading to page 30. Boom, hoof prints.
We are greeted with a beautiful little picture here of this Bambi-looking horse that's on the front cover.
Not how I imagined a unicorn.
Or sorry, the inside front cover. And it says, "You track the hoof prints to a small clearing. There you find a small white horse nibbling wildflowers. The animal raises its head and stares at you for a second before breaking into a frenzied gallop. You hesitate, trying to decide if it's just a horse or if you could possibly be a more magical creature. If you run after the animal, turn to page 42. If you turn away and follow the silver strands, turn to page 104.
Well, we're not following the silver strands. We already know where that goes.
But 104 is a different page, no? It is a different page.
Yeah, 104. Yeah, the other one's a different page, yeah. Yeah, no strands for us, though. Thanks, princess, but we're looking for a little excitement. We thought this was the adventure of a lifetime. What did you say her first name is? I keep forgetting her first name. I keep calling her Miss Dragon Soul Touched, our character.
Corinthia.
I'm going to write that down. Corinthia. What a beautiful name. Corinthia.
So I guess we're going to page 42?
Let's do it. All right. The white horse gallops so awkwardly that you have little trouble catching up with it. You grab its mane and throw your arms around its slender neck. Oh, chill out, chill out. Only then do you notice the small stump on the top of its head. "You're hurting me," gasps the creature. You are shocked by the animal's voice. Are you some kind of magic horse or a hornless unicorn? I'm a unicorn, and if you'll release me, I'll tell you why my horn is missing. You let go of the unicorn and smooth its tangled mane. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Normally I could shake you right off, but several hours ago the warlock, the terror of this forest, cut off my horn. Without it I have no magical strength. I'll be dead by daybreak. Oh no, you cry. Part of you feels compelled to help the unicorn, or at least stay with it through the night, yet another part of you wants to look for the warlock before he gets too far away with the horn. If you ask the unicorn, where can I find the warlock? Turn to page 64. If you decide to help the unicorn, turn to page 68. I mean, isn't helping the unicorn also stopping the warlock and getting the horn back?
Your logic is sound, but I think the thing is, the choice is, do you speak or do you not speak?
Like, it's literally just being like, are you like, just going, or
do you say how can I find the warlock, or do you just start helping the unicorn, like physically?
Well, I guess we could ask where the warlock is. I'm hyped. We're on an actual quest now. Let's hunt down this warlock. I like how like one lady's just like, oh, I got a unicorn horn at home. I'm a queen. Here you go. And then this other guy, this warlock's looking. See, they're a valuable commodity for the forces of good and evil. And this is what I'm saying. This warlock cut off this unicorn's horn, and this unicorn seems pretty fucked up. So I feel like the queen, the princess, however she got that shit, wasn't nice to the unicorns. So are we asking about where the warlock is?
Yep.
I just want a quest. Let's kill a warlock. Let's get some renown. Like that game Fable. You ever play Fable?
No.
Oh, it's a fun one. Highly recommended. I used to have it on the Xbox.
You said 64?
Yep. Nintendo, baby.
The warlock is hard to find because he's always moving around, answers the unicorn. The sparrows have told me he often visits the wood witch who lives west of here. Oh, the wood witch. That means we're getting closer to the cover because we got this wood witch and this dragon thing.
I guess this tree is the wood witch, or at least has to do with it, because the face looks like a witch's face.
How will I recognize her, you ask? The unicorn shrugs weakly. I've never seen her myself. There's enough danger in this forest already. I don't go looking for more. As you thank the unicorn, you feel a twinge of guilt for abandoning it, but you remind yourself that saving your village is the most important thing right now. All through the night, you head west. By dawn, you notice more and more fir trees growing among the birches and maples. A soft wailing sends a chill down your spine. You tell yourself it must be the wind.
I like how we find a unicorn, and it's very anticlimactic. And then we're like, we're actually going to go for this warlock since he's got your horn.
It says turn to page 74, so here we are at page 74.
Cool. Farther ahead, oh my god, this illustration's crazy. Farther ahead, past the stand of fir trees, you see a clearing. You race up to it, expecting to find the wood witch's dwelling. Instead, you discover 7 life-size wooden statues. Most are of surprised woodcutters, but there's also a crying child and another statue of a woman. Oh, jeez. Her face is full of terror. You study them closely, noticing that some are remarkably detailed, while others seem more like fir trees than humans. The sudden crack of a breaking twig makes you turn sharply. A tall creature, half woman, half tree, stares at you with glittering green eyes. 2 branches move like arms to embrace you. Run, you tell yourself, but you can't. You are paralyzed with fear. Don't be frightened, whispers the wood witch. As she touches you, your body turns into wood. You can't see a thing, but you can think and feel, and your screams sound like the howl of the wind. You make a lovely statue, says the witch as she strokes your smooth wooden arm. And in 10 or 20 years, you'll be a handsome fir tree. The end, and how horrific. Sorry, Corinthia.
We keep leading our girl into these precarious scenarios.
This is one of the first times this book has very cool illustrations. They'll span across 2 pages. If you've noticed, Tejj, I don't know if you've noticed, it's like they just span across more pages. And this one with our tree witch death is a really epic picture where half the page is us. Every inch of the page has like this background of like eerie woods all the way like through the words everywhere. Every inch of the page, and then like on one side, it's our girl Corintha staring horrifically at a very horrific image. Looks like it's from a scary stories book, like literally like of a husk of a person as a tree. And this witch, I mean, she doesn't look as angry as she does on the cover, but it's creepy because she's right behind, like we don't notice her, and this witch is on the other page right behind her, creeping up on her, and it's already too late. I love the art in these books. Yeah, so we're dead again. So, should we just go help the unicorn? I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rewind.
We rewind. Okay, let's ask the unicorn. Wait, what did we do last time? We asked the unicorn?
Yes.
Let's decide to help the unicorn. Page 68. What can I do to help, you ask the unicorn. The unicorn sighs. There is only one way you can save me, and even then I'm not sure it will work. Tell me what it is. When thousands of teardrops are combined with moonlight, explains the unicorn, they form a rainbow of tears, which has special healing powers for unicorns. I'll do it, you exclaim eagerly. It's kind of you to offer, but the rainbow probably requires more tears than you can weep. Go to the next page.
Quite emo.
This is some funny shit right here. You'd be surprised how much I can cry, you insist. It takes thousands of tears, the unicorn reminds you. I could run home to get my friends to help too, you suggest, although you're not really sure anyone in the village will listen to you. The unicorn shakes its head sadly. There is so little time. Remember, by dawn I'll be dead.
So we got a real strict clock on this.
This unicorn's like Eeyore. He lost his horn. He's just like clinically depressed.
And he needs 1,000 people to cry real quick.
And listen to our options here. If you decide to cry the rainbow of tears yourself, turn to page 102. Or if you decide to bring your friends to help cry for the unicorn, turn to page 150. I love these books. I did not expect to be in this situation.
Are we gonna group cry, or are we gonna solo cry or group cry?
I mean, it doesn't seem like we could cry so many tears that we form some sort of magical tear rainbow. But I can't say I'm well versed in tear rainbow magic that heals unicorns. I just think that's really friggin' funny, man. Like, this unicorn, you literally gotta cry a rainbow to heal it. It's like how Peter Pan, you gotta believe for the magic to work. I think let's get our friends involved, right? Let's bring in our friends. Let's have a big group cry for the unicorn.
Okay.
Like the end of a sappy movie.
So that takes us to page 115. It says, I'll hurry back, you promised the unicorn as you set out for your village. The shadows grow longer with each step you take.
He's fucking dead.
You search anxiously for familiar sights, but the time the moon rises, you know you're lost. You decide to return to the unicorn, but after walking all night, you find no trace of it. By morning, you know that the unicorn must be dead. Holding MC's talisman in your hand, you whisper to it, if you really bring good luck, prove it to me now. Help me find my way home. For 3 long days, you stumble aimlessly through the forest. Just as you begin to think you are lost forever, you hear voices in the distance. You discover 2 of your neighbors working in their field. You are so relieved. You forget about their fears of leprosy and rush over to greet them. Get away, one shouts. You can't come back, cries the other. Turn to page 98.
I knew that unicorn was dead the second you started reading that. We should have just tried crying ourselves. We're really not good to unicorns here on the Choose Your Own podcast, everybody.
98.
98. You curse your bad luck as you run past the men to the village. MC Clary the OG talisman has led to one misfortune after another, and this is the worst. When you reach the well, you tear the charm off your neck and hurl it into the murky water. Good riddance, you yell. You brought me nothing but bad luck. You rub your eyes in disbelief. The water begins sparkling brightly. You can see clear to the bottom of the well. It's clean, you shout jubilantly. The water is clean. The villagers gather around the well to taste the fresh water. Welcome home, they cheer. Hooray! Forget about the leprosy.
I was about to say they completely forgot about the leprosy. The real way that story would have ended is they would have just killed you on the spot. Yep.
This book legitimately has demoralized the shit out of me in terms of finding a unicorn. We finally found a unicorn. He was super depressed, like Eeyore.
And the crazy thing is, dude, we did both the plausible choices after finding him, and they both led to our demise.
And it's funny even how like the unicorn itself was like, yeah, I mean, crying this thing is pretty ridiculous. I'm probably just gonna die. Like, and he was right. He was right. We should not have went back for our friends.
Do you want to try to cry the rainbow of tears by ourselves?
Should we cry a rainbow of tears by ourselves? Yeah, I'm down. I'm for it. I mean, why not, right? What page was that? 60. Oh, here we go. Got it. Yes, 69, baby. If you decide to cry the rainbow of tears yourself, turn to page 102. Let's do it. I feel like we got 2 bad endings coming up. Maybe not, though. 102. No, we're not dead. Do you want to read it, or should I read it?
You go ahead.
All right. Let me try to cry the rainbow of tears, you insist. I'm touched by your kindness and courage. The unicorn glances at the sky. The moon will rise in a few hours. Until then, just rest. When darkness cloaks the forest and the moon is high, the unicorn murmurs, "It is time." You remind yourself of every unhappiness you've ever experienced, and tears begin to trickle down your cheeks. Then you imagine all kinds of misfortunes that can happen in the future. You sob uncontrollably as tears drip off your nose and chin, soaking your shirt. You cry so hard you begin to cough, but nothing happens. No matter how much you weep, no rainbow appears. I'm sorry, it isn't working, you whisper to the unicorn. No one can fault you for trying. The unicorn rests its head on your lap. As morning approaches, it begins to croon sorrowfully. Oh my god. The unicorn's song of death pierces through the darkness, penetrating the dreams of people far and wide. With the first blush of dawn, the unicorn's voice falters, and you notice the sound of galloping hooves. Before you have a chance to wonder who is approaching, a unicorn plunges through the shrubs. It halts beside you and lowers its lustrous horn to touch the head of the dying unicorn. Their eyes meet. You watch the unicorn in your lap smile peacefully, then close its eyes for the last time. Turn to page 109. I'm so sad, and look at this picture, Tejj. She's just like, Corinthia's just laying with this unicorn while it dies, and we have an image. I'm like genuinely sad right now. All I wanted to do was have a fun unicorn adventure. And here's the ending. You want to read it, Tejj? I'm upset. I'm holding back tears.
The second unicorn raises its head and says, "Thank you for staying with my sister. Is there anything I can do to repay you?" As a matter of fact, there is. You describe the problem facing your village. "Climb on my back and show me the way," replies the unicorn. You clutch its mane and the unicorn races through the forest towards your village.
Yes!
The end.
You know what? I'm decently satisfied with that one. Well, no, I'm not. That other unicorn's dead, right? Or is her sister helping her? No, she's dead, right?
Yeah,
she was like, "Thank you for staying with my sister."
Yeah. Her unicorn sister is dead.
Wow. Even an ending where we found a unicorn to help us, I am devastated. I'm extremely devastated right now. We either got a mundane ending, which I find those funny, that's okay, or like all this stuff with the unicorn was very sad. Like, I don't know what we're doing, Tejj, but I feel like there's definitely like children-friendly adventure in here. We're not finding it. These books aren't for adults.
I think
I love them though.
A theory I do have actually is that they prepare children for the
harshness, the harsh realities of life
of the real world. I agree. Because even if you make all the right choices, sometimes you just don't get what the fuck you want.
Yeah. Super sad. Like,
it's not that sad. You're a bleeding heart. I'm sitting here like, who gives a shit?
At least the people
I didn't go
okay
on my unicorn adventure that I wanted.
You know what it was? Deborah's a good writer. Just like the way they describe the horse's last moments, that really got me. Like, yeah, is it that sad? Nah, at least we get to save the people in the village, right? But the way it was like it died and it affected everyone's dreams and shit. Like, Jesus Christ. You know what? That's the beauty of the 80s, though. You know what? I don't know exactly when this book. 1985, exactly. One thing I always loved about the 80s, and I love 80s movies. I love a lot of stuff made in the 80s. They weren't afraid to show kids that real shit.
That's true. That's true. I was talking to somebody yesterday about how it's crazy. Even in the early 2000s, I don't know if you remember this, but when we were in elementary school or whatever, they used to let us watch the craziest like movies like in school.
Oh yeah. Well, my favorite movie of all time, Tejj, I think I've told you this before, or one of them at least. A lot of my favorite movies are actually from the 80s, from 1982 specifically, is The Dark Crystal, which, they recently had a series on Netflix and stuff, so you guys might know what it is. If not, check it out. Check out the original movie. Great, super weird, trippy fantasy adventure. I love it. Loved it since I was a kid. It's terrifying, though. I saw it in theaters. Caroline took me to see it in theaters for my birthday one year, which I cried then, too. I am a bleeding heart. I cried of happiness. I've always wanted to see it in theaters. And people bought their kids, and their kids were freaking out and crying, and parents had to take their kids out just because it's all puppetry. It's like Jim Henson Company and stuff, and it's really disturbing. There's death and stuff, and it's traditional effects, so it looks real, almost like a horror movie. It's a little visceral, people crumpling into dust and stuff, and like, I don't know. I think that's what helped me become the man I am, though. I think it was good letting the kids see that real shit.
I agree. I feel like you have to give children the structure to deal with hardship. That way they have a way to do it, and it doesn't seem completely unfamiliar to them when hardships do show up.
And these books are good on multiple levels because they have the adventure that's going to make the kid happy. They have the adventure that's going to make the kid think. They have the adventure that's going to make them a little sad maybe and contemplate some, some deeper thoughts, They really have it all. Also, just want to say, because a hilarious comparison to this is if you look at the original Wizard of Oz, right? Beautiful movie. Obviously, any kid could watch that. It's a little serious, witches or whatever, but pretty simple. And then you look at the sequel from the 80s, which I highly recommend to those of you who haven't seen it, if you like Wizard of Oz or just like a crazy ass movie. Return to Oz. Tejj, I don't know if you've seen it. I highly, highly recommend it. It's the trippiest movie ever. It has barely anything to do with the original Wizard of Oz. It's super trippy. There's a woman with a decapitated head chasing people. It's a very disturbing imagery. One of the creepiest movies of all time. Literally a kid's movie, literally the Wizard of Oz.
You know what, Blitz? If you want to do me a favor for my birthday, you should put together a list, because I feel like every week you tell me I should watch like 3 or 4 movies that are movies. That are very like not obscure. I feel like obscure is a kind of like a derogatory word, but it's like they're movies that I've never heard of and I never would have thought to look up or look for on my own. So can you put together like a big list of those movies, and we'll put it out on, like, maybe we'll make a post or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch them together or something. We'll review them.
Like Blitz's movie.
I'm down, man. I love movies. I watch a lot of movies. I'm big into movies, big into film, big into making stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. I could give you a very, very big list of my favorite 80s movies. I'll even separate it by subgenre, because I'm a huge horror nerd, but I also like tons of other stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's the episode we got for you guys today. But I mean, I'm sorry that we couldn't get a happy unicorn ending, or we couldn't get something that was, what we wanted. But
our adult brains are too smart for happy endings.
Out of our 5 tries at this, we found water 4 times. I mean, I think that's pretty fucking good.
Like, we're helping the people. We're just not. I just wanted to go into this. I wanted to ride the unicorn, maybe fight a warlock. We tried fighting the warlock. We just died instantly. It's like, the warlock.
It was the wood witch.
Oh, well, we had to go to the wood witch first, but you go to the wood witch and you're dead. Maybe there's an ending there where we're not, because, I mean, like we said on the cover, which you guys will see probably on the Instagram, whatever, where we got the unicorn and we're dealing with this wood witch. And, maybe that's just showing us a little taste of all the parts of the book. But maybe there's an ending out there where we don't instantly die from the wood witch. Who knows?
This is definitely a book that y'all will be seeing again, because I'm determined to navigate this book in a way that I think provides the most excitement. I mean, not to say that this episode wasn't exciting, but I just feel like
I agree.
We got too much of what we wanted. I want to be held out. You know what I mean?
I mean, we died horrifically once, which was nice. But yeah, a lot of just basic. Looking at this book, what I wanted and what we should go for next episode is like, let's try making decisions that just lead us to... There's got to be an ending in here that kills 2 birds with 1 stone, where we find the unicorn and we fight some bad evil or something, and we stop some evil that the village doesn't even realize is a problem, and we also save them all with the unicorn, And everyone's happy. I want that ending. I want like a crazy, fantastical quest. There was no quest. It was like, oh, we're going to fight spiders. We're going to go into a den of spiders. Nope, we found a stream. We're good. Oh, we found someone who looks like the sorceress. Nope, she's a princess. She has a unicorn home at home. So... yeah, I want to go on a more fleshed out narrative journey.
That being said, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us on our journeys, and we're happy to keep bringing you more adventures, more crazy times, and we look forward to keeping this train rolling.
Like, comment, subscribe if you like what you see. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you guys think about the movie idea. I'm going to post my Uncle Saul thing if you guys want to see that.
We have a few books also that we've been thinking about that we'd like to go on to, but if you want to help us out and drop a comment and let us know which one of these books you'd like us to explore next, we're happy to order them and dive right in.
It's all about you guys. You guys are our life and blood. So see you next time on the Choose Your Own podcast. I am Jeremy.
My name is Tejj.
And we are out of here.